Combined, the three 19-year-old men were charged with 29 incidents, of which there were 21 murders and 8 survivors. Igor was charged with 21 murders, 1 count of animal cruelty, and 8 armed robberies in his unlicensed taxi. Alexander was charged only with 2 armed robberies. Victor was charged with 18 murders, 1 count of animal cruelty, and 5 robberies. The case seemed like a slam-dunk open and shut case because of the seemingly overwhelming evidence against the men. Many of the crimes were committed on video, and there were even numerous photographs of the crimes on their computers. Igor and Victor had in their possession many items belonging to victims, such as credit cards, mobile phones, and jewelry. Of course, they also had hammers, metal pipes, brass knuckles, and blood on some of their clothes. There were even people who had survived attacks, who would normally be expected to testify, but they were all attacked from behind and did not see the boys. While the affluent parents of all 3 young men believed they were innocent, none of the parents paid for lawyers. The 3 maniacs began the legal process with a public defender named Victor Chaguz. During the discovery phase, Chaguz said that he had been unable to find a motive for the crimes and that he did not think any of the men were normal mentally. Chaguz explained that he obtained his PhD in criminal psychology. Normal guys cannot torture animals for 2 years and then kill people in cold blood, Chaguz said, or inflict 22 stab wounds and then kiss the victim in addition to also posing next to her. Detectives believed that Igor was the leader and most mentally ill of the 3, while the other 2 simply wanted to belong to a group of friends. Underscoring Igor's cold-blooded nature was an answer he provided to an investigator. When asked what killing felt like, Igor replied, "What do you feel when you cut sausage?" Something that frightened investigators even more was what they found in the young men's bedrooms. While the boys had used primarily blunt objects for their murders, they had been collecting guns and ammunition. Chaguz did not stay on the case, however. Citing health concerns, he handed the case over to the court. Victor's father, Igor Sayinko Sr., then served as their public defender. Igor Nekvoloda was age 21 and recently discharged from the military and staying with his parents. On his way home from a nightclub, he was attacked by the maniacs in the dark. Eventually, his mother went out looking for him and found him dead. Victor's father even said he found a man who had seen the real killers, but he did not want to meet with reporters as he feared for his life. Several videos were played during the trial. One video was a long video of the torture of a white kitten. The killers nailed the kitten to a wooden cross and then shot at it with a pistol. When the cat shrieked and made too much noise, they simply stuffed its mouth with foam and glue. During the trial, about 100 photographs were shown to the jury. The court went through the photos and videos in about 40 minutes. Several jurors and others in the courtroom created a spectacle of their disgust, and a doctor's assistant was needed. The 3 killers sat in a cage in the room, surrounded by bars. Only they were able to calmly watch the videos and even smirked at each other while watching them. When it was suggested that the videos were planted on the computer after it was seized, a video editing expert got on the stand and said that falsifying that amount of footage would take millions of dollars and at least 1 year. The videos in question, however, had been discovered within hours of the seizure. At one point, the prosecutor asked one of the men whether they could see themselves in the photos. The killer replied no, to which the judge proclaimed, "You're not blind?" During a court recess, the mother of one victim said to Igor's father, "How could you raise such animals that they killed my daughter?" To which he curtly replied, "Your daughter was destined to die." The maniac's motivation to murder was identified as morbid self-affirmation and an expression of the need to dominate the weak. On one of the photographs shown to the court, one of the killers had captioned, "The weak must die, the strong will conquer." Some photographs even showed the killers attending the funerals of their victims, posing with the bodies in the coffins while smiling and flipping them the finger. In the videos, they seemed to compete in cruelty and cynicism. The mother of the second victim, 33-year-old Ekaterina Ilchenko, said she would never forgive the killers. "You can forgive a person," she said, "but not these beasts." She described finding her daughter's body and crying out, "Is this my baby?" The father of one victim said he was also the father of his church, and that the Lord takes away not only bad people, He needs good people too. Ukraine had no death penalty at the time, so on February 11, 2009, when the court leveled its harshest punishment on the maniacs, Igor and Viktor received life sentences for their murders. For their robberies, they received an additional 15 years. Alexander was sentenced to only 9 years in prison for his part in 2 robberies. The maniacs committed so many crimes and killed so many people, it took 2 days to read their 100-plus page verdict. Vadik, the 13-year-old boy whose friend was murdered while fishing, was traumatized from the event for months after the killers were sent to prison. He was afraid that somehow they had not gone to prison, or that they might escape and come after him. He was tormented by fear, his mother said. He did not come out for almost a month from the yard, afraid that the killer is looking for him, did not stay home alone, went to work with his stepfather. Recalling that at first the police tried to beat a confession out of Vadik, she said, "He cried so hard when he told me how the police scoffed at him." Igor's father later said Igor had been tortured in order to obtain his confession. Just as the victims' families had a hard time coming to terms with their loss, the parents of the killers had a hard time coming to terms with the fact that their sons murdered so many people. Victor's father eventually summed up this experience. 2 years ago, Igor beat a little boy on the street and took away his bicycle and then sold it to Victor. When the police came to seize the bike, my great son was shocked. He said he did not know that bike was stolen. So I thought simply Igor was framed, but to my great surprise, he was just another criminal.